So when you come in, on Sunday, I guess you practice yesterday afternoon. Do you kind of get the team together? And what's kind of before practice like?
Yeah. So what we do is we have a team meeting where we just talk about, the game, what we saw in the game, that kind of stuff, and then we, address good stuff, bad stuff, watch special teams, and then break up, watch the game film individually, and then we practice that evening. So that's kind of a normal Sunday for us.
When you watched the film, what did you see, either good or bad, that you didn't see from the sideline Saturday?
Well, I mean, it's. I think we had a pretty good idea, what happened really. I mean, we didn't, we've been making plays. That's been the thing that we've done all year is when we had opportunities to complete long throws, we've made the throw, we've made the catch, or, we've had opportunities to tackle guys, we've got them tackled. And, that was kind of the thing that we didn't do on Saturday. And again, a lot of that has to do with your opponent and the fact that, Navy played well and did a good job. And, we haven't very few times we fumbled the football this year. We fumbled the football, and so you just look at the entirety of it. It's it's some mistakes and some things that we haven't really done very often. Some kind of uncharacteristic mistakes, and we haven't jumped off sides on in critical situations where we had a chance to stop people. And so you just looked at all those things, and I think we've been able to kind of stay ahead when it comes to coaching and making adjustments for the most part this year. And I felt like we probably didn't do as good a job doing that as we have at times this year. So, I think anytime your team doesn't play well, it goes back to the coach's ability to get them prepared to play well. And so, there's always a shared, when you don't win, you don't have success, there's always kind of a shared responsibility for it. So that was kind of the deal.
When you look back at the tape, obviously we're critical of the referees after the game. Do you feel like you were validated when you saw that tape?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. I kind of addressed it. I'm done with that. Yeah, so I don't really have anything to say.
When you talk about the coaches preparing your team from one week to the next, now that your circumstances have changed and you don't have that conference title to dangle out in front of them, how much harder does that make your job and your staff's job to prepare them?
Yeah, you know what? If you got to do that, then you don't really have much of a team. You know what I'm saying? I think that you get 12 opportunities to play. You work 300 days, plus for those 12 opportunities, and so I think if you're looking for some kind of way to motivate your team or some kind of sense of I got to rally the troops or whatever, then it's usually not a good situation. And the good thing about our players this year is they look forward to playing. They want to play hard for each other. They've had a sense how important every game has been. I think everybody wants to put extra importance on certain games. And, if you lose Arkansas State, that's the most important game. If you lose to North Texas, that's the most important game. If you lose to Tulsa, that's the most important game. And so every game is really, really important within itself, especially if you want to have a good football team, especially if you're a team that wants to compete for championships. So, I think that our guys are starting to kind of develop that mentality. I think we're disappointed that we didn't play better, Saturday. I know I was disappointed, and I was disappointed for our players, just because, I wanted them to have, get some of the fruits of their hard work and that type of thing. And when it comes to, respect and all that, but that's constantly something you have to earn, and we're learning how to do it and learning at the level that you have to prepare at and play at in order to have the kind of success that that merits recognition.
I think the success you've had this year probably will make some of your assistants candidates for other jobs, and that kind of starts up next week.
Yep.
Is that something you thought about, or are there people that you
for sure. Yeah, for sure. Now you've got. That's kind of the part of the business that's it's a good part and it's the bad part is when you have success, people are going to want to talk to your coaches. And I've always said this about head coaches. You're on one list or the other. You're on the list that's supposedly taking another job, or you're on the list of they're taking your job. And there's really no in between. And and in truth is there's a lot of in between, but it's like people kind of choose to see it the other way. And so when you have success, you hope your coaches have opportunities to go places if that's what they want to do, and that's the best thing for their family. And so we'll see how that plays out. I think, you always have a backup plan. You have guys in mind that you hire if you lose somebody, and you develop a lot of good young coaches in your program like we have. We have a lot of really good young coaches in our program right now that can move into to different roles. And so that's you hope you get things set up that way where you don't have to bring in new faces and you kind of get to keep on doing what you're doing. But if you happen to lose somebody, but yeah, it is. I mean, I think our coaches really love coaching our players. I think they like working at SMU. I think they feel like we're going to have a chance to have a very good football team and a program moving forward. And so I think it's going to take something pretty special to get those guys to leave.
Piggybacking off an earlier question, this team seems to have a grasp of history. And
Yeah.
Can you tell me what it would be like to finish this thing off with a 10-win
Yeah.
season?
Yeah, I mean, I think it hadn't happened very much. I mean, I don't know. I think 5 or 6 times maybe they've had 10 wins in 100+ years. So that would be obviously a big deal. Then if we could get to 11 wins, I think they've done that twice maybe. You got to get to 10 before you can get to 11. And so that's going to be our primary focus this week is just, trying to figure out how to get to that 10th one. But, like I said, it's the last game. You start to allow yourself to maybe look at that thing a little bit more now than you did when you're right in the middle of it. But it's served us well up to this point, just, focusing on what we're doing right now and not trying to worry about that and, reflecting at the end of it all. I think that's always the best thing to do. And, I try not to do it too much. You just try to coach, get through the games the best you can and not worry too much about all that. The thing to me that's, that I guess a little bit of the discomfort I'm having, I guess, is just, saying goodbye to these seniors, having it be their last home game, just because it's a really good group of players, really good group of people, guys that have, been through a lot, had a lot of different circumstances, how they got to SMU, how they've stayed, the coaches they've played for. I mean, just all the different things that they've been through. And it's just been fun, watching these guys continue to invest and, deal with adversity and get through it all. And, we've come a long way. You go back and you look at the bowl game against Louisiana Tech. It wasn't that long ago. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And to be, where we are now as a program, I think it's a real credit to those guys.
You may have addressed this at some point last year, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on this the early signing period and just kind of how it kind of all plays into a very hectic month in college football.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I think first of all, I was in favor of the early signing period. I just think that if kids know where they want to go, why not get them signed up? However, trying to make it all fit within a calendar that makes sense is hard to do. It's like everything. The devil's in the details. It sounds great about having an early signing period, but then when you're trying to prepare for a bowl game and you're trying to go visit recruits and you're trying to see all these players that are going to sign early and get into their homes and get in front of them, you start putting it on the calendar and you start going, how in the world are we going to do this? And so that's what we spent about an hour and a half just a little bit ago doing, was going through what we're going to be doing in terms of, we'll play the game on Saturday and then we'll do a local home visit Sunday and get on an airplane and fly someplace and do another home visit Sunday night. That's just kind of the way it goes. And at the same time, you're trying to figure out, everything that goes involved into logistics for a bowl game and trying to prepare for a bowl game and all that. But, beats the alternative, you know what I mean? And so that's the good thing is last year, this time we were, a week from now we were picking up gear and this year we're going to be playing. So that's a good thing.
You talked about the senior class that's playing its last home game on Saturday. One of those guys, James Prochet, obviously has had a very big year for you and has continued to produce since Reggie Robertson got hurt. And so that threat wasn't there on the opposite side.
Yeah.
How have defenses changed the way they defend your passing game or James specifically?
Yeah, well, I think, losing Reggie was obviously significant. A really good deep threat guy. I think if you look at both the Memphis game and the Navy game, I mean, those are two pretty good matchups for him, just the way they play defense and some of the personnel. And so not having him is a big deal, but it's like everything. I mean, you got to just adjust and move forward. I think not having Myron last week hurt us. He wasn't available for Navy and kind of hoped he would be, and it turned out he wasn't. That hurt us because we kind of tried to play James a little bit more outside, just to get a little bit more experience out on the edge, and that allowed him to do some things, roll safety over the top, and do some things that made it harder to get him the ball maybe than it has been, playing inside primarily, and so that was probably the biggest, having both he and Myron out. Those are two fastest receivers, and changed everything a little bit for us. But you know how football is. You got to figure it out and try to keep it going.
Will Myron be back on Saturday?
Yeah, Myron's back. Yeah, Myron practiced, full practice on Sunday. And I think he's going to be good to go.
Is there anybody who's going to be in the senior day ceremony that maybe has eligibility that's going?
Yeah, could be. I think Colin Rock maybe. I don't know who else right now offhand.
Okay.
I think there's probably 2 or 3 guys that are going to elect to go ahead and move on, which, they're going to graduate.
Do you have an update on Reggie, maybe the bowl game?
Yeah, we're hoping. I know he went to the doctor today. I haven't had a chance to hear back. He got an x-ray and some stuff done today. We're hoping he's going to get out of the boot pretty soon and be able to start doing some stuff. So, yeah, we feel good about it. We're optimistic, but you know how that stuff goes. I mean, we're not going to bring him back too fast. I met with him today, and that's the first thing I told him is we're not going to, put you out there and give you any kind of chance of re-injuring that. So, if he's got a 100% clean bill of health and he can practice and we feel like that he can help us win, then he'll do it. If not, we'll take care of him.
Kiki Burns, I know he always went out, and you seen him at games. He looks okay. I mean, what's he been going?
Yeah. So he's doing better. I mean, he's trying to get back in the flow of things. He missed a lot of practice, and so for a young player to miss as much time as he did, he's still just trying to get caught up and adjusting.
Any other injuries you can update for the Tulane game?
I think we didn't really have. We had a couple of sprained ankles that are fine. Jalen Thomas had a sprained ankle. He'll practice tomorrow. I think
Didn't Hayden Howerton limp off the other day?
Hayden had a little bit. Somebody stepped on his foot. He's fine. So I think both those guys will practice tomorrow.